Hey guys, Chris Fayte with Cheat the Game. This is the second half of part 4. The reason that we have a second half is because I didn't want to put everything together all in one vid tut, which would make it very long. So I just broke it up into 2 separate vid tuts. However, if you have not watched part 4A, that's where we look up our coordinates. You need to go back and watch it. Unless you're already familiar with how to look up coordinates, then you're fine. Because we're just going to go straight into it and get started with our teleport hack. Now, I've had to reboot up the game and everything, so our previous coordinates are no longer valid. So what I need to do is go back and get the coordinates again. However, I'm going to do it the easy way without having to relook all that information up, since we already have information from our fly hack. And that's what we're going to do. What I'm going to do is copy down our modular address from where we did our fly hack, and let's go to memory view, go to address, and just paste that in there, and it'll carry us right to that opcode. What I want to do is I want to see the instructions that go through that address, put it on float. Remember, this address or this opcode doesn't activate until we actually jump. It's only affecting our Z coordinate here. See that? And that's what we wanted. So this is our Z coordinate that we learned from last time, and we're just going to rename these. This is the new address, and we know that they're all together and 4 bytes apart, so we know that we can get rid of these. Let me just copy and paste this address manually. We'll put that one at 4, which is our Y coordinate. Put it on float. That up, and then we just put that one at 0, because they're 4 bytes difference, because the addresses are 4 bytes. They're 4 bytes apart, and usually your coordinates will always be together. So that's one good thing about it. If you find one, you can find the rest of them. Alright, so we're going to go directly to getting our teleport. So what I want to do is I want to find out what's accessing this address. Don't matter really which one you pick. Go back into the game, and what we want to do is we want to grab a location that is constantly reading. I want to get a location that's constantly reading. We're not really modifying any opcode. We're just adding something to it before it actually runs the opcode, but it's not going to affect anything. As far as we're not really making a hack as far as manipulating this particular opcode or whichever one we happen to choose. So that's what we want, is one that's constantly reading. And so we're going to show that into the disassembler. Let's make sure right quick. I just want to see all addresses going through it, and it's only handling our X coordinate, which is fine. That's good. So we can get directly to our script, and we're just going to go right into making the script. Also, I do have up here where I went over this step by step on how to make a teleport hack. I'm doing the exact same thing, nothing really different, and I'll have those links up in the description. Also the fly hack, also part 4A will be up here as well. So if you have not seen those, I recommend that you do, so you won't get lost. But I will explain things as I go, but just not in as great a detail as I did the last time. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to it. We'll okay that, and we're just going to put tele 1. There's several things we need to do to make this hack. Is we need to store where we want to. We have to have a save location and a load location. We need to have a button that the person can press on our trainer where it saves their current location, and then when they go wandering off on the map or anything like that, they want to teleport back to that location, they have to press a separate button, and it'll teleport them back to where they previously saved at that particular spot. So that's why we need 2 different areas. Well, to do that, we need to store the coordinates in a location somewhere. So that's what we're going to do, is allocate some new memory, and I'm going to call it store chords, and we'll just put that at 256 bytes, which is more than enough. we need to make labels for all our coordinates, so let's do that right quick. We need our X position, which is our X coordinates actually, our label for Y position, and also a label for Z position. Just on down here, let's go ahead and put store coords. Got to be spelled the exact same so the system recognizes it. And we just want to define those, and we're just going to put that at a 0 integer, and our Y position and Z position. Okay, so these will be where this is where we're going to store our coordinates when we save, and when we load the coordinates, that'll be the teleport. We'll have a registry come back and retrieve that information and write it back into the address. Okay, also we need to register those as symbols so we can use them outside of that allocated memory, because this is going to be a new allocated spot. See, we got 2 different allocated spots in memory we're having for new mem and store coordinates. So this will be in a different part, and this will be in a new allocated memory. So we need to be able to use these in the new allocated memory, and we do that by registering a symbol. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy, and we're just going to paste that 2 more times and just change those accordingly. And also remember, when you register something, you have to unregister it, and when you allocate something, you have to deallocate it as well. So let's do that before we forget and screw things up. Now this is a big script, and you see now why I want to put this in its own little separate vid, because it just made the other one just incredibly long. Okay. Okay, so now that we got that, now there's another thing we need. We need a save location and a load location. So we got to create a new label. This is where we're going to have, let's put it down below new men. This is where we're going to have the cheat engine go save our coordinates to this new allocated memory that we just did. Glad I saw that. Up in store coordinates. So we're going to have to borrow register, have it store our coordinates, and then when we load it, we're going to have another location that loads that information. And we'll just put it underneath, and we'll fill all this information in just a second here. Okay. Like I say, if I'm losing you, go take a look at my teleport hack vid. I go over all of this more slowly and step by step. Okay. I don't mean to lose anybody. Alright, now we need to go ahead and create our flags. Now this is for when the person presses the button that it activates that particular thing. So we need to create a new label. This is for our flags, and we're going to call this enable save. And let's go ahead and make the label enable underscore load. And these also need to be registered as a symbol, because we're using these outside of the script also. So register symbol. And we need to unregister these as well. And all this will make more sense in just a second when we actually create our values here and create our script. That way we have all this preliminary out of the way, and we can just go ahead and write our script, and we should be good to go. Down here we need to go ahead and I'm gonna have our flags up in the store coordinates allocated memory. And enable load. We're going to store it as a 0 for right now. So when we turn our code on, enable save will be an integer 0, and enable load will be an integer 0. And you'll see what we do to get that to activate. Okay. So the first thing we need to do in new min, that's the button, is we need to compare our flags. If those flags aren't turned on, we don't want it to run any save or load. We want it just to go straight down here to code and continue on as normal. Okay, so first thing we need to do is tell it what to do if that flag is turned on. So right now, when we turn this activation cheat on, it's going to be at 0. So when that flag is set to 1, an integer 1 instead of a 0, we don't want it to jump to code, we want it to jump to save. So we'll put jump if equal to code. Jump if equal to save. Okay? And we want to do the same thing for our load. If that load flag is on, we want you to jump to load. And if nothing is on, we want you to just go ahead and jump to code. Alright, so let me just run through that quickly again. When they turn the script on, this is what it's going to pop up here where the address is. It's going to pop that jump and these two knots. It's going to tell the computer program or the game to jump to new min. Automatically it's going to jump up here and it's going to read this. I need to compare enable save to the number 1. So it's going to go to where enable save is in the allocated memory of store coordinates. It's going to take a look and see if it's a 0 or 1. If they have not matched the button to which turns this to 1 and it's still 0, it'll look at this, say jump if equal to save, it's still a 0. So I come on down here. Glad I saw that. Make sure you spell things correctly. Enable load, does it equal 1? No, it's still at 0. So what do I do now? Jump to code, and it's just going to jump to code and bypass these two. Okay? If it is a 1, it's going to do what it's instructed to do. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and write our script. Now as soon as this turns to 1, it's going to jump down here to save. So right off the bat, we need to move a 0 right back into that enable save. If not, it's going to keep saving everywhere they walk. We don't want that to happen. So we're going to move 0 back into it. That way when it comes back to new mem, it's just going to keep jumping the code. Alright, so we got that out of the way. We just take a look just to make sure. Okay, good. I'm going to borrow a register. Okay, so we push RCX onto the stack. And this is how we do it. We're going to use RCX to be our carrier between store coords and new mem. It's going to be saving our location in this particular area. So how do we save our location? Well, we know that our AX at this area plus 80 is our Z coordinate, or excuse me, I'm sorry, our X coordinate, which I forgot to label, which is this right here. So for right now, and we know that since they're 4 bytes apart, that RAX plus 84 and RAX plus 88 will be our other two coordinates. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to move into RCX our current position at the X location, which is RAX plus, let me just copy this, make it a whole lot easier, which is at 80. And then in turn, we need RCX to come back up here and deposit it right here, that information. So how do we do that? We move into X position, RCX. What's being stored in RCX is going to move it into X position. So it's going to come up here and store the coordinates. Alright, so what do we want to do? We want to copy and paste this 2 more times because we need one for our Y and one for our Z. And we just change things accordingly. We know that Y is at 84. We know that Z is at 88. We need to change these to its correct locations. And then as soon as it's done, we need to pop RCX. And it will return that back to the system with whatever value it's previously carrying. And then under here, we put jump to code. So either way, it's still always going to be jumping here and performing this code like normal. We're not doing anything with this code. Okay? And we need to do the same thing for load, except we're going to be doing things in reverse. When enable load is a 1, it's going to jump down to here. So right off the bat, we need to remove that flag, or make it go back to 0 so it don't keep loading. So we're just going to move a 0 right back into it. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to borrow the RCX registry again to be our carrier. And what it's going to do this time is we're going to tell it to come up here to each one of these that have already previously been stored. It'll be a new value after we save. So it's going to retrieve that new information and bring it back down to these addresses and put them in their appropriate addresses, which when it writes to those addresses, it's going to take us to those coordinates. Alright, so we just do everything in reverse. We need it to go to X position. We need RCX. We need X position to load that information into RCX. Then we need RCX to move that new information into our current address. Simple as that. I mean, it's not hard. It's just a lot you got to type out and get it to understand. And we do it 3 more times and change things accordingly. I shouldn't have done it that way, my bad. Don't do it that way. Do it this way. I don't know why I did that. Okay. There we go. A lot easier now. So we changed that to 84. We changed that to 88. And we changed that to Y position. We changed that to Z position. So as you can see, X position is going to load that stored information into RCX. RCX is going to load that into our X coordinate. And the same thing for Y. Y is going to put that information in RCX. RCX is going to move that information into our Y address, and same thing for Z. Then we pop RCX back off the stack, give it back to the system, and we jump to code. Now I know it's going to go down to here to code anyway without that jump, because that's just the next thing in line. However, if we decide to put other things in here later, we already have that. So for right now, that looks okay. We might need to troubleshoot it. Don't know yet, but we'll take a look at it if something arises. But for now, we want to go ahead and assign that to the current cheat table. Let me take a look. Label X position is not defined. Oh, my bad. X pod. I don't know why I put X. There we go. And that's good. Cheat Engine will let you know your little typos here and there. Most of the time it will, but sometimes it won't. And you just got to go through your list and see if you misspelled something. So make sure everything's spelled correctly, or it'll really screw things up. That should be okay. And it's also, you have to have, if it's all lowercase, it needs to stay all lowercase. If you have any capitals in it, you have to put it as a capital, because a lowercase s is a different byte than a capital S. So keep that in mind. And that's the way the computer reads these things, in byte form. Okay, so we're going to put this as teleport activation, because this script ain't really going to do anything until we make hotkeys and things like that, which we're going to do right now. So we want to go ahead and turn that on. I'm going to move that up just a little bit here, and right here I want my flags enable save, which is at 0 right now, and this is what we're going to call it. Save location. And let's move it on up here underneath the teleport activation, and also our enable load. Teleport to save, or just teleport. And we're also going to move it up here as a child underneath the teleport activation. Now we need to assign it a hotkey. So what I'm going to do is set a hotkey for the save location. And you can choose whatever hotkey you want. It's best to choose one that's not already being used by the game. So I'm going to choose F11. And I'm going to have a sound activated for when they press it. And what do we want it to do? We want to set the value to 1. Click apply. Now every time they hit F11, it should save our current location in that store cord allocated memory. Now for our teleport, we're going to set a hotkey. We're going to create a hotkey for F12. Activate sound. And we want that to set the value to 1. Now do you see why we had the script move 0 right back into it? That way it turns it back off again. So as soon as they mash the button, it's going to do that, and that's going to return back to 0. And these are our Boolean flags that we have to activate our script. So let's go test it out and let's see if it works. Let's go somewhere else.
This is my city.
Let's try something here. No, not with the let's try it with super jump on. Let's see what happens.
What training regimen does father have in store for me today?
I was going to try to get up on that thing. I still hadn't quite mastered it yet.
My Majesty, let's see what you can do.
Here's an area we're not supposed to see. Take a look. You see that over there? Template. It's not even done yet. It's a small map. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and save location. I'm going to mash F11. Hear that? So let's go somewhere else. Let's see if it teleports us back here. I'm going to turn my super jump back off. And we'll just come over here out of the way somewhere. And I'm going to hit F12. Take a look. We teleported back. If I hit F12 again, we teleport back. Let's let me turn my fly high. I had it on 150, so I don't want to go that high this time. Let's put it on about 50 this time. There's an invisible barrier right there where we are because we're not supposed to be there. It's not really a place we're supposed to climb to. So that collision field is a lot higher. You see that? Alright, let's save up here. Let's see what happens. We're going to save right here. Save our location. We fell off, but we forgot something up there like a chest or something, and boom, guess what? We're right back. So that's our teleport hack. And that's basically all there is to it. Now, like I say, if you got lost or anything, feel free to go take a look at my other teleport hack vid. I go into things, and it's the exact same thing I did there, except I go into things in a lot more detail. I know I did explain a lot in this one also. And if you don't know how to find coordinates, go take a look at part 4. I find coordinates in part 4, also in the teleport hack vid as well. So, well, that's all for this particular part. I'm sorry I didn't put it with the other, but you see how long it was going to be, so I just wanted to split them up, and that way give you the option if you want to come back to it later. But that's all for now. I really appreciate you guys watching. Next go around, we're just going to do some miscellaneous type cheats, some more things. I need to get further in the game. I do know that we're going to do that blink. We're going to be able to blink as far out as we want to and not have a limitation on that, and other miscellaneous things that I can find. And I think after that, that's going to be it. I think you get the idea, and we're going to go ahead after that and finish this series off and go ahead and make the trainer. I appreciate you guys being here. You guys take care, keep on hacking, most importantly, please enjoy yourself. That's really what it's all about. You cheat the game, fellas, because believe me, it doesn't mind cheating you. You all take care now. And now we got our fly hat on. Take a look.